Hello everyone and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning and today I'm joined by Pearse and Tommy McLaughlin. Hello guys.
Hello, how you doing?
Good afternoon.
On today's podcast, we'll be reacting to last weekend's English and Scottish Premier League results. We'll also react to the English and Scottish teams playing in Europe last weekend. And at the end of the podcast, Pearse will be giving a rundown of the latest Asian football news. So we'll start off with the English Premier League results from last weekend. So on Friday, the 15th of December, the results finished Nottingham Forest 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Then on Saturday, the 16th of December, it was Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 0, Man City 2, Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle United 3, Fulham 0, Burnley 0, Everton 2. And then on Sunday, the 17th of December, the results were Arsenal 2, Brighton 0, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2, West Ham United 3, Wolves 0, and Liverpool 0, Man United 0. So just before we go into the results, the latest news is that Nottingham Forest have sacked Steve Cooper after in his last match was the Friday night match against Tottenham, which they got defeated 2-0. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's not? What do you think?
Well, I
I think
think
it's fair.
I think it's probably fair, but I think the fact is that the trajectory he brought on Nottingham Forest is can he be undone because he got them up to the Premier League for the first time in a long time. But I think they were leaking far too many goals, and I think since the exclusion of Joe Worrell and Scott McKenna, they have been kind of a lot less solid at the back, and they've been a lot more leaky at the back. They're shooting goals left, right, and centre. And they've been an entertaining side to watch. You've got a lot of good attacking talent, but I think at the back they're a bit suspect. And I think Nuno Espirito Santo is a new coach, so I think he might do
Think
well.
you'll do a good job?
Might do well. Wasn't that successful in his time in Saudi Arabia, but he was good for quite a long time in Wolves, and he started pretty decent at his time in Tottenham. So it remains to be seen, but I think it's a good appointment. He's a solid Premier League manager.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Tommy?
Well, as soon as I was just going to back up what Pierce said, as soon as you drop the man, the myth, the legend, Scott McKenna, you're gonna get sacked eventually. You know what I mean? Like you can't drop like the pivotal centre back, the rock, the 6'4" machine, Scott McKenna. He's got everything. He's got aerial threat. He's got ball control. He's got skill. He's got the long range passing. Why would you even drop? He's a leader on the pitch as well, man. He can bang one in from 40 yards, and you drop him for somebody like.
To be fair, I think dropping him was harsh, by the way. Like, I actually thought it was harsh. I think he's been actually not too bad for Nottingham Forest.
He's the reason he got to the Premier League. He's the only reason.
You were one of the big reasons he did really well for them. I think it was pretty harsh, to be honest, because I know they've not won many games. I think it's 1 win 13. I think they've got or something in the Premier League. But like the fans love him there. Like he's so well liked there at Nottingham Forest, man. Like the fans were gutted that he eventually got the sack, and they're not happy with the fact that they've got Nuno Espirito Santo. So I don't know how this is going to go. I think it could either backfire badly, or it could go really well. I think it's one of the appointments where you just don't know. But yeah, so that's that. So Steve Cooper sacked from Nottingham Forest.
Can I just briefly, before we move on, can I just ask, quite similar to when Leeds sacked Marcelo Bielsa? Like, the fans loved him.
Yeah, exactly.
Since then, it just went on a downward spiral, so it could potentially end up in that situation.
Now look what Leeds United are in the Championship. So, yeah, it's you just don't know. So, just the rest of the results, guys. So, do you have a game that stands out to you?
Yeah, for me, it's the Man City Crystal Palace 2-2. Man City cruising, chances left, right, and centre yet again, but they're just at this moment in time, they're not showing that killer instinct to finish teams off, and they allowed Crystal Palace back into the game. And obviously they had 2 shots on target the whole game, Crystal Palace, and they get 2 goals, and they punished Man City. And Man City don't seem to be at their free flowing best, and they don't look as imperious as they were last season when they went on to win an historic treble. And I do think teams are starting to figure out a way of how to play against Pep Guardiola's Man City side. When you're missing the likes of Rodri and De Bruyne, massive players for them, but at the back, they were so solid last season. And you thought the addition of Gvardiol would have made that even more secure, but they look suspect at the back, and I don't think Ederson covers himself in glory sometimes when he saves. The ball at his feet is brilliant, but he's not really an Alisson. He wins you points for Liverpool. So I think that's the massive result of the weekend. Roy Hodgson getting a historic draw at the Etihad.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Tommy, but the one game that will definitely not be the standout was the Man United Liverpool game, because that was terrible. I mean, that was for such a historic game, and yeah, it was such a bad game. Yeah, so that's definitely not my standout. But my standout's probably the Everton result. Just the fact that it's just unbelievable what the job Sean Dyche is doing there. It just really is. After a 10-point deduction, they just keep winning. I think that's 5 wins in a row now. I could be wrong, but I mean it's a brilliant record that they're going on at the moment, and I think they'll be more than safe this season. And if they win their appeal to get their 10 points back, then they're going to become. They could even finish top 10. So it's a brilliant job he's doing. And then obviously the Bournemouth Luton game, which got abandoned because of what happened to Tom Lockyer. Pretty mental stuff that was, because I think that's the second time that's happened to him in the space of 6 months. So there's something going on there. Like, there's something different doesn't seem to be right there. I think he went into a cardiac arrest as well. So pretty mental. So yeah. But my standout is the Everton result against Burnley, which ended 2-0. What about yourself, Tommy?
I'd have to agree with Pearse. The Man City and Crystal Palace. I feel as if since they've lost the best player in the team to injury, De Bruyne, Haaland has been dog shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels as if they've lacked the leadership and the material to control the elegance that they usually have. Because what people don't understand, the reason that Haaland got so many goals in last season and this season so far is because De Bruyne has been cultivating chances, creating chances out of nothing. Obviously you need a striker to put the ball in the back of the net, but when you're not getting the chances created to put the ball in the back of the net, you're not going to score much goals. Because see if De Bruyne is on the team, how many goals did Man City score? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is a big miss. People are clinging on to the fact that when De Bruyne comes back, that Man City are just going to go on and win the title.
No.
But they're dropping. I think it's 1 win 6 that they've got right now. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty rough times at the moment for them. But he is a big miss for them, and it's so true. I think Haaland, he misses him big time. I think he plays 100 times better when De Bruyne's in the team. So yeah, that's that.
I'd also like to add as well, a lot of the signings that they've actually lost previously, in the back line, like Cancelo, since Pep Guardiola had to fall out with him. Cancelo, when he was playing for Pep Guardiola, I'm not gonna lie, he was up there with the best on current form. He was so good. And then they had obviously behind this closed doors kind of argument, and I don't want you in my team anymore.
I know. Yeah, it's a good point.
And who did it have now? Who did it have now? You know what I mean?
I think it's Kyle Walker that plays quite a lot, and
Rico
I think
Lewis.
Akanji plays.
Aye.
Yeah, and Rico Lewis, he can play right back as well. So I think they do miss him. So yeah, that's the results from the weekend. So we'll move on to the Scottish Premier League results. Quite a lot to kind of go through from last weekend's Scottish Premier League results. So we'll start off with the Saturday games, which finished Celtic 0, Hearts 2, Livingston 0, Kilmarnock 0. Ross County 0, Dundee 1, St Mirren 0, Motherwell 0, and St Johnstone 1, Hibernian 0. So in terms of the results, guys, I won't be surprised if I think we all know which one's a standout. Let's be honest, I think we all know which one's a standout. Let's just go right into it. So it's obviously Celtic 0, Hearts 2. That's Celtic's second loss in the space of a week. So that's two losses in a row in the league now. What do you think about that?
I think it's pretty surprising, but also quite shocking at the same time. I don't think you'd expect Celtic to lose 2 games on the bounce in the league. Considering sandwiched in between that, they had a memorable first Champions League win in the group stage for 10 years. 10, 13 years, I think it was. But so I think you can get that level of performance in Europe against a top quality side in Feyenoord, but against Kilmarnock, they played the first 45 minutes okay, and then second half they were just abysmal. Allowed Kilmarnock to come onto them, and in the game at the weekend against Hearts at home, you'd expect a reaction. I think Hearts thoroughly deserved their win. Defended resolutely and scored a goal at a set piece, which was no one was leaving Lawrence Shankland unmarked is criminal, because that man will punish you. And then cheap free kick to give away, and then Kingsley just pings one in the bottom right hand corner. And then I think all afternoon, and I don't think Celtic looked as if they were going to score. I think you could have played 2-3 days, and I don't think they scored. They're lacking a potency in attack, and I think it's quite evident when you're relying on players like Mikey Johnson, James Forrest, to try be your creative outlets in the wings. They're missing a lot of key players big time. I think Maeda came back, but he's obviously just came back from injury, so he'll be well off match sharpness. But I think Celtic need to get results quickly, because there's a title race well and truly on in Scottish football.
Yes. What's your thoughts, Tommy?
Well, on Celtic, I would have to say when I was watching the game, Joe Hart is for a lot of Celtic fans is he has to retire. That's what I'm hearing, because a lot of them are saying that he doesn't come out, he doesn't make himself big, he just stands and waits for the ball. And Nat Phillips as well. Apparently, he had a really bad game, shocking apparently, and because he came in from Liverpool, they're thinking, oh my God, like we need somebody, because Celtic already brought in 2 centre backs in that transfer window, and then they also brought in 1 person on loan because of injuries. And Nat Phillips is from Liverpool, expecting him to just like kind of slide into the starting lineup. You know what I mean? And he's just been shocking. And I don't even know why Celtic want to get rid of Lagerbielke as well, because Lagerbielke's been class for Celtic, I would say. Like looking at his current form, like they've actually not lost a game when he's played. Right?
Mm-hmm. No, you're spot on. And it just seems to be a bit of a. I think it's on the verge of a crisis at Celtic at the moment. Just not playing well at all. Ever since Brendan Rodgers has come back, to be fair, I don't think Celtic have really played well in any game this season. Yeah. There just seems to be a lot of problems at the moment in terms of. It's obvious that Brendan Rodgers wasn't happy with last summer's transfer signings, because he doesn't really play any of them. He's there just doesn't seem to be any sort of style of play for Celtic when you watch them. They're just kind of hoping like someone comes up with a bit of magic or something to score a goal. And there just seems to be a lot of issues at the moment. The players are definitely lacking in confidence as well. And yeah, I mean, Celtic had a decent point gap between them and Rangers, and that's getting clawed back now, because Celtic keep dropping points. So that was a poor one at the weekend for Celtic. It really was. I think that was Hearts' first win at Celtic Park in, I think it was 12 years as well. So fair play to them, because what a result that is. I was wanting to touch on, by the way, guys, so in the Ross County Dundee match, so Dundee won that match 1-0. And then after the game, the Ross County manager, Derek Adams, he had quite a scathing rant about Scottish football, saying that it's not up to standard. And his Morecambe side that he left to go to Ross County for was 100 times better than the team he's got right now at Ross County. So what do you think about his comments? Do you think they're fair? Do you think he's out of line? What do you think?
No, I think he's well out of order. Because he also said about Morecambe, he said they'd be very competitive in the Scottish League. Morecambe's League Two, so I don't think they would be. I think you look at Aberdeen, one away to Frankfurt in Europe, and one at Frankfurt at home in Europe. Rangers beat Real Betis in Europe. Celtic beat Feyenoord. So you've got teams competing in European football. You've got Hearts and Hibs, good quality sides. No, I think we've got a lot of good Scottish sides, and I think it's very disrespectful to even mention your former employers who sacked you as well. So I think, and like you said, he's only been in the job a matter of weeks. And you'd think you'd be a bit more wiser because he's been around the block, Derek Adams, in terms of Scotland and England. It's his third spell at Ross County as well. So I think it's out of order. Shouldn't mention your former employers, and I think Scottish football's a lot better than what he gives Scottish football credit for.
Yeah. What do you think, Tommy?
I'd agree with Pearse, a bit out of order, but there's one thing that I'd agree with. I feel as if like Scottish football's kind of officiating and the whole kind of refereeing kind of background of the game needs to change. I'm not just talking from any team point of view. There's just been so many like kind of mistakes, so many errors like through every game. Like the referees are either like really, really card happy for no reason, or they don't give anything. Like when it's a blatant like kind of foul or a blatant red card, they don't give anything. Like at the end of the day, like those decisions can make a game. These decisions can make a game go well or go bad. And even using VAR, they don't use it well. They don't even go to VAR very often. And when they do, they've already decided the decision before VAR. They're not going to change their mind.
No, you're right. Definitely officiating is something that Scottish football has got to really think about. I agree with that. I definitely think there's a lot of problems there. But in terms of what Derek Adams says about the fact that Scottish football isn't, it's not great, then I don't agree with him, because like you've got to remember as well, like a lot of these teams, bar Celtic and Rangers, the budgets they have are they're non-existent in this kind of day and age. Like how are you supposed to compete with the top teams in the world? Have I just think he was pretty angry just because of the fact that they got beaten in the last minute as well. I just think he was just a moron. I don't necessarily think he believes what he said. And as Pearse said, we had 3 teams this week in Europe, the Scottish teams this week in Europe that all won. So definitely think that he's gone over the top there a bit. And yeah, I think he'll not necessarily believe what he said. I was just wanting to touch on the fact, obviously, the 3 Scottish teams won. So we had Celtic and Feyenoord, which finished 2-1 to Celtic. We had Real Betis versus Rangers, which finished 3-2 to Rangers, which meant the Rangers topped the group and they're now qualified for the last 16 Europa League. And Aberdeen beat Frankfurt 2-0. So what do you think about these results, guys? What do you think?
I think they were all fantastic results, to be honest, each in their own merit. You look at the Rangers result away to Seville. I don't think Rangers have ever won away in Spain and Europe, and they managed to beat a side that drew with Real Madrid at the weekend, 1-1, and they could easily have gone on and won that game. So to get a result like that is pretty unheard of, and it's just a credit to the man that's in charge, for Clermont. He's instilled that belief that they can go and compete at this level. And in terms of Aberdeen, Frankfurt, obviously Rangers and Aberdeen cup final at the weekend, so they had maybe they thought they'd rest or rotate the squad quite heavily, but they went out the strongest side and they surprised Frankfurt, who the previous weekend beat Bayern Munich by 5 goals to 1. And that doesn't happen very often because Bayern Munich are the all-conquering German champions. So for Aberdeen to do that, that's a monumental victory. And obviously, you mentioned last week in the podcast, Tom, Barry Olsen was potentially under some pressure for his job. And I think he's kind of silenced the doubters a little bit, or because I think that is a historic victory for Aberdeen. And obviously, the money that it brings into the club as well by getting a European victory is fantastic. It's good for the coefficient for Scotland as well. And in terms of Brendan Rodgers getting a win for Celtic in the group stage, that gets the monkey off the back for Celtic, and it shows that they can get over the line in terms of getting a home victory, and under the most dramatic circumstances as well, and a 90th minute winner after suffering a late equaliser. So all credit for the three Scottish sides, and long may it continue.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think the three great results, fantastic for the coefficient. And obviously the big standout one is the Rangers one. Real Betis hadn't been beaten at home this season. They were unbeaten at their home stadium. They hadn't been beaten all season in La Liga and also in Europe, and Rangers went there and got the victory. There just seems to be something about Rangers in the Europa League. I don't know what it is. They just always seem to put out performances when they need to. And get the results that they need. And that's them top the group now in the last 16. And, they've got the experience of kind of going far in the Europa League. Obviously, they got to the final a couple of years ago. So, yeah, a great result for them. And then obviously Aberdeen, you can't mention that. I mean, you've got to mention that. I mean, they beat Eintracht Frankfurt, beat Bayern Munich 5-1. And then the next game to play Aberdeen, they get beat 2-0. So, I mean, it just shows how crazy the football is at times. And then obviously Celtic, obviously, as Pearse said, kind of get the monkey off the back with the fact they had won the Champions League in so long. And they'll be pleased with that, the fact that hasn't hanging over them anymore. So, yeah, three good positive results in Europe this week for the Scottish clubs. You got anything to add, Tommy, to that, or?
I would add that it just shows you how little people believe in the Scottish football, how much they run us down. But look how well these Scottish teams are playing against the top teams in Europe. It just shows you that people like put the English Premier League like top league, and then put the Scottish Premier League like very low. English Premier League is not as entertaining as it used to be. I used to love watching English Premier League match of the day. I'd be tuning in, even though I'd fall asleep like very easily before it starts. I'd watch it in the morning after waking up. But I used to love watching the sports scene after it, and like the Scottish football. I feel I'm not being biased, culturally biased, but watching Scottish football is more entertaining to me than watching a lot of the Premier League games, because see the big teams like Chelsea versus Liverpool, Man City versus Man U, Arsenal versus Spurs, they're all boring games, like 0-0s and like 1-1s, and they're supposed to be big rivalries. See when Celtic and Rangers play, it's like do or die. Even if it's a 1-0, it's like kicking lumps at each other, fighting for every ball. You don't see that in the other derbies.
Yeah, that's a point that I think we could go on about for quite a while. And I think there is some truth to that as well. But we'll move on just lastly to last Sunday's Scottish League Cup final, which finished Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0, which meant that Rangers won the League Cup. They hadn't won the League Cup in a long time. And that was Philippe Clement's first trophy since being appointed manager. So what do you think, guys, about the match and obviously Rangers winning the cup?
Well, I think Rangers had the majority of possession. They had better chances, and also a fantastic achievement for them in terms of Philippe Clement getting the first trophy of the season. We've been in the job a matter of months, and also that will give them the kind of edge in terms of pushed on in terms of the title race. It did the same thing for Ange Postecoglou in his first season, but I do think they done it on the back of a couple of controversial decisions. I thought the officiating was pretty abysmal at times. The referee just let the decisions go in terms of blatant fouls. Like I remember one in the first half where it was Sockler was waiting on the ball and Tavernier just blatantly puts two hands in his back and pushes him over. And the referee says, "Get up, play on." And there was a few instances in for both teams. And you look at players like Andrew Shinnie and John Lundstrom, they were kicking lumps at players left, right, and centre. And I think both of them finished with a yellow card when arguably both of them could have probably seen red. So I think in terms of efficiently letting things go, and I think the two major incidents for Aberdeen, which they'll be gutted about, was two, for me, blatant penalties. Todd Kicknell had a grab of Garterman's jersey in the box at a corner, which Golson got not that long ago against Aberdeen at Pittodrie in the 90th minute, but didn't even get looked at by VAR. And then obviously Duke, where he turns inside the box and Butland goes through the back of him. And for me, that's a Stonewall penalty as well. So Aberdeen will feel hard done by, but Rangers, fantastic achievement. But that's my thoughts on the game.
Yeah, what do you think, Tommy?
Well, they could take that tainted trophy. I mean, don't know how much money they've been paying that referee, by the way. I watched that game and I was thinking about putting on my Aberdeen kit and running on that field and like spearing that referee by. I'm telling you, all right. Todd Cantwell should have been sent off for simulation, all right. Lundstrom should have been sent off for how many fouls he did, all right. And then there's Tavernier jumps in with studs showing, play on, all right. And then whenever like Duke was running by a player, grabbing his jizz, pulling him down, and then there's that, oh, dive. If it's a dive, give him a booking. If he's simulating, if Duke's simulating, give him a booking. Didn't give him a booking. You've done it 3 times, said it 3 times, simulating. He should have been sent off. But there's no booking to do because they knew he was fouled. Anything to help Rangers win something, man. I'm telling you that, by I'm getting sick of it happening against my mighty Dons twice this year, by the way. Twice. As Conor Golson went down with a slight, pull the jersey. Did you see Cantwell pulling like Gartman's jersey? It was like a full grab, like the game against the Rangers last time when it was in the 90th minute. Golson got a little bit and he was like, I was like, seriously, mate, you're like 6'3" and you're built like a brick shit house and you're going down like that. And also as well, we might have had a couple of elbows that should have been sent off for Rangers. I mean, Rangers should have been doing about to 7 men or something that game. I'm telling you that. The referee that away with a rock. Graham Shinnie should have been sent off. Should have been. But I felt as if Graham Shinnie, I'm not gonna lie, man of the match for me. But I'm telling you that, solid. There's a reason he came back to Aberdeen because he brings experience, he brings the class, the elegance, right? What they need Aberdeen, right? They need to just win the game without penalties, right? They didn't do that well enough. They were playing for decisions. Like every time they got in front of the goal, there was no to that finish it. Ivoski couldn't get near it, couldn't get by the. It's because Rangers were compact. Rangers are very defensive, they're very compact. They defend in their own half and then they counter attack. But I feel as if, well done to Rangers. But any team can win after giving a big wage packet to the referee. I mean, it's not hard.
Well, I think it's clear how Tommy thinks, but no, I didn't think there was too. I didn't think there was much between the sides, to be honest. I thought it was quite a cagey game. Aberdeen had their chances, Rangers had their chances, and Rangers at the end of the day took it with Tavernier, who does seem to always kind of get the big important goals for them. And the fact that that's them now won the trophy under Philippe Clement quite early into his reign. They're only 5 points behind Celtic, and they've got 2 games in hand in the league. So, and they've also just got through the Europa League, and they're now in the last 16 Europa League. So, it's a great week for the Rangers. What a week for them. They're going to be more than confident after that, and they're now going to be, focusing on the league. And by the next time Celtic and Rangers play each other, Rangers could be top of the league. So, they're going to be full of confidence at the moment. And, And that's for Aberdeen, they were gutted because they had some big chances in that game and some decisions that didn't go their way. I won't go as far as Tommy in saying how much he doesn't think that they were decisions, but they could have went for them. It couldn't have went for them. We don't know. But at the end of the day, Rangers won the trophy, and that's that.
So add as well. Roos should hang up his gloves. That was shocking. Couldn't even catch his dinner.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at that, right? The fact, I think we all know how Tommy feels, right? So we'll leave it at that. And for the end of the show, Pearse will give the latest of the Asian football news.
Yeah, in terms of Asian football news, we had Red Diamonds playing Manchester City in the Clubber Cup semi-final last night, which Manchester City won comfortable 3-0 winners. So they will now play on Saturday. They'll play Fluminense, so the Brazilian Copa Libertadores champions. So it'll be the almighty treble winners from last season against the Copa Libertadores champions with Marcelo, who could potentially win another trophy with his boyhood club. So no, it's set place for a thrilling encounter, and we'll find out if the Brazilian side will beat Manchester City, or Manchester City will now become the world champions. Yokohama F. Marinos and Kawasaki Frontale from J League 1. Then for it, Kofu from J League 2, Pohang Steelers, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, and Ulsan Hyundai all from K League 1 have all advanced to the round of 16 in the AFC Champions League 23-24. So great to see all sides from South Korea and Japan advance, especially aside from the J League 2, which is unheard of. So fantastic achievement for all of those sides. We also have agreed a new bumper deal for Hee-Chan. Understood the contract will run until June 2028 with an option for a further season. New deal will put him on the same level as the highest paid players at the club. Huge moves by Wolves to tie him down, as he's been one of their best players this season, and he's up there at the top goal scoring charts in terms of the Premier League. And I think he's just going from strength to strength. So I think it's a fantastic move to tie him down, because no doubt there'll be big clubs circling around trying to sign him up. So Shanghai Port FC have confirmed the appointment of Kevin Muscat as a new manager. Muscat is the manager of Chinese champions Shanghai Port, who are captained by ex-Chelsea star Oscar. Sven-Goran Eriksson and Andrew Villas-Boas previously coached the club. They were formerly known as Shanghai SIPG. Muscat is history with Shanghai, having twice beaten them during his tenure with Melbourne Victory, and ex-Celtic and Australia internationalist Aaron Moy also had a spell at the club too. So there's that Australian connection within the club. Toro Oniki became the most successful Japanese coach of all time in the J League. The 2023 Emperor's Cup title for Kawasaki Frontale brought Toro Oniki to 9 titles in 7 seasons as a manager. This achievement has broken the record for the number of titles held by Akiro Nishino, and has placed Oniki alongside Osvaldo de Oliveira, who also has won 9 titles. So Ulsan Hyundai have unveiled a new logo and have announced that the club name will now be changed to Ulsan HDFC, which is, I'm sure it's going to upset a lot of fans. Reigning K-League champions back to back, and they've went for a new logo and a new name, so no doubt change is also quite important in terms of football, but I think a lot of fans like traditions, they like history, so it remains to be seen whether it will receive good positive reviews. So Avispa Fukuoka hosted Shakhtar Donetsk in Tokyo for a charity match to raise funds for Ukraine. The match finished in a 2-2 draw at Tokyo's National Stadium on Monday in front of over 600 war-hit Ukrainians evacuees, with the proceeds directed to the country's reconstruction. The game was arranged by the majority shareholder of J-League Cup champions Fukuoka, the Anpan Man Real Estate Brokerage Group, which has been supporting the evacuees, and it was in front of a crowd that was over 50,000 came to support and watch the match. So Shakhtar captain had this to say after the game: "I'd like to send lots of gratitude to Fukuoka and thanks so much for our Ukrainian people." And also the Wisła Fukuoka captain added, "I hope this match serves as an opportunity to think about the situation in Ukraine, even by a little bit. I could tell the high level Shakhtar were playing the game at. We're very grateful they came all the way to Japan, despite their challenging physical condition, having played Champions League football midweek." Yeah, and lastly, Leandro Damal departs Kawasaki Frontale after his contract expired, but leaves having helped guided the club to the 2023 Emperor's Cup in his last match. Damal departs with 2 G-League 1 titles, 2 Emperor Cup wins, a G-League Cup win, and a 2021 G-League 1 MVP award. It's been a magnificent run for the Brazilian, and I'm sure he'll be remembered fondly by the Kawasaki Frontale fans and all the G-League 1 fans. And that's all your latest Asian football news.
Thank you, Pearse, and thank you, Tommy, for coming on the podcast. Hope you have calmed down now. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel and also the Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.